I knew something was off when I arrived at Olive Garden and the hostess asked if I'd still be needing a table for 6. I smiled and said yes, even though my stomach was already churning. After raising 3 children and burying my husband 5 years ago, I'd learned that family was supposed to show up for the big moments. But there I was, sitting in a corner booth, adjusting the lace tablecloth I'd brought from home to make it feel special, checking my phone every few minutes like a teenager waiting for prom date. Before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe, and also, drop a comment below. What's one life lesson you think everyone should learn before it's too late? Share your thoughts, thanks. It was my 70th birthday. 7 decades on this earth, and I wanted to celebrate with the people who mattered most. My son Justin, my daughter-in-law Candace, my daughter Lisa, my son-in-law Tom, and my granddaughter Sophia. The ones who always said they were so grateful for everything I did. The same people who cried when I bought Justin a reliable Honda Accord when his credit was shot, and who told me I was the rock of the family when I took over their mortgage payments after Gerald passed. My name is Helen, and at 70 years old, I thought I'd seen every kind of heartbreak life could throw at me. I was wrong. 2 hours crawled by like decades. No calls, no texts. The waiter kept refilling my sweet tea, probably feeling sorry for the old lady dining alone on her birthday. I ordered the chicken parmesan, Justin's favorite, hoping they'd walk through those doors any minute with sheepish grins and hurried apologies. That's when my phone lit up with a notification that made my blood run cold. It was an Instagram post from Candace. Family celebration for the real winner tonight. So proud of my amazing wife. The photo showed everyone, Justin beaming with pride, Lisa raising a champagne glass, Tom with his arm around my granddaughter, all dressed up at some fancy steakhouse downtown. They were celebrating Candace's promotion to regional manager at her marketing firm. The same promotion dinner I'd been asking about for weeks. The same celebration I'd offered to pay for. The same family gathering I was apparently too unimportant to attend. I stared at that photo until the screen went blurry. Not from tears, I was past crying. From pure, burning rage. Then I saw the text message Justin had sent me exactly 2 hours earlier, right as I was walking into the restaurant. Sorry Mom, you're not exactly a priority right now. We'll catch up soon. Enjoy your dinner. Enjoy my dinner. Alone. On my 70th birthday. I paid the $89 bill, my entire week's grocery budget, and left a generous tip because the staff had been kind enough to pretend they didn't notice how pathetic I looked. As I drove home in the 2018 Buick I'd bought with my own retirement savings, I did something I hadn't done in years. I started planning. Because after 70 years of putting everyone else first, after 5 years of covering their bills while living on Social Security, after decades of being the family ATM and emotional support system, I was done being their safety net. It was time they learned what life looked like without Mom cleaning up their messes. When I got home to my small duplex, the one I downsized to after Gerald died so I could afford to help the kids, I didn't turn on the lights. I just sat in my recliner, Gerald's old reading lamp casting shadows across the living room walls covered with family photos that suddenly felt like monuments to my own foolishness. Every picture told the same story, me in the background, everyone else front and center. Justin's college graduation where I'd worked double shifts at the diner to pay his tuition. Lisa's wedding where I'd spent my entire savings on her dream reception. Candace's baby shower where I'd bought half the registry because family helps family. I opened my purse and pulled out the leather-bound checkbook register I'd kept since Gerald passed. Every entry was there in my careful handwriting, $1,940 monthly rent payments for Justin and Candace's townhouse for the past 3 years. $47,320 total. Then there were the utilities, the car insurance, the credit card payments when Justin's landscaping business hit a rough patch, the emergency room bill when Candace broke her wrist, the daycare costs for Sophia. The grand total made me dizzy, $73,850 over 5 years. Money I'd scraped together for my Social Security, Gerald's pension, and the part-time job stocking shelves at Walmart that I told everyone was just to stay busy. I walked into my tiny kitchen and opened the cabinet where I kept the important papers. There it was, the mortgage payment slip for their house. The automatic withdrawal form I'd signed when they were temporarily struggling after Sophia was born. The temporary had become permanent, and I'd never said a word. My hands weren't shaking anymore. They were steady, determined. I picked up the phone and dialed the mortgage company's 24-hour customer service line. The automated system recognized my voice. I'd called so many times over the years to make arrangements, payments, and extensions. I need to cancel the automatic payment from my account, I told the representative, a young man named Kevin who'd probably never had to choose between his own medication and someone else's rent. Can I ask the reason for the cancellation, Mrs. Patterson? Because I'm 70 years old and I'm tired of paying for a house I don't live in, I said simply. There was a pause. I understand, ma'am. The cancellation will take effect immediately. Is there anything else I can help you with? That's everything, Kevin. Thank you. After I hung up, I sat at my kitchen table and wrote a note on the back of a grocery receipt. 5 words, figure it out yourselves now. I drove to their house, the beautiful 3-bedroom colonial in the suburbs that I'd been subsidizing while living in a duplex with thin walls and a leaky faucet I couldn't afford to fix. I taped the note to their front door, right next to the wreath Candace had bought with money that was technically mine. As I drove home, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years, the weight of obligation lifting off my shoulders. My phone was already buzzing with notifications, but I turned it face down on the passenger seat and drove home in blessed silence. I woke up the next morning to 47 missed calls and a voicemail box so full it wouldn't accept new messages. For the first time in 5 years, I'd slept through the night without worrying about someone else's problems. I made myself a proper breakfast, scrambled eggs, wheat toast, and real butter instead of the margarine I'd been buying to save money for their bills. Then I sat in Gerald's old chair and started listening to the voicemails. The first was from Justin, and I barely recognized my son's voice. It was high-pitched, frantic, nothing like the confident man who'd been too busy to call his mother on her birthday. Mom, what did you do? The mortgage payment bounced. The bank called this morning saying the automatic payment failed. I don't understand, you've been handling this for 3 years. Why would you just stop without telling us? Candace is freaking out, and Sophia keeps asking why mommy's crying. This isn't like you, Mom. Family doesn't abandon family like this. Family doesn't abandon family. The irony was so thick I could taste it. The next voicemail was from Candace, and she wasn't even pretending to be nice. Helen, I don't know what kind of game you're playing, but you can't just pull the rug out from under us like this. We have a child to think about. We planned around your help, you said you wanted to help. You can't just change your mind because you got your feelings hurt over dinner. We're adults with real responsibilities. Real responsibilities. Like the responsibility to call your mother-in-law on her 70th birthday, or the responsibility to acknowledge the woman who'd been financing your life for half a decade. But it was Lisa's message that cut the deepest. Mom, what is wrong with you? Justin called me crying, Mom, because you're being vindictive over missing one celebration. We had no idea you even wanted to come to Candace's dinner. You never said anything. And now you're punishing them by canceling the mortgage? That's their home, Mom. Sophia's home. How could you be so cruel? Cruel. I was cruel for stopping the flow of money I could barely afford to give. Cruel for expecting basic consideration on my milestone birthday. Cruel for finally saying enough. I deleted the rest without listening and made myself a cup of coffee, the good kind I'd been saving for special occasions. Today felt pretty special. The doorbell rang around noon. Through the peephole, I saw Justin pacing on my front step, running his hands through his hair the way he used to when he was little and had broken something valuable. But I wasn't going to fix this one. I opened the door but didn't invite him in. Mom, we need to talk. About what? I asked calmly. About this crazy thing you're doing. The mortgage, the note, what's gotten into you? I got tired of being taken for granted, I said simply. I got tired of being everyone's solution and nobody's priority. He stared at me like I was speaking a foreign language, and I realized that to him, I was. Justin stood on my doorstep for a full minute, mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. Finally, he said the words I'd been waiting years to hear: "We didn't know you felt that way." "You didn't know because you didn't ask," I replied. "When was the last time any of you asked how I was doing? Not how much I could help, not what I could contribute, just how I was doing." He couldn't answer, and we both knew it. "Mom, look, I get that you're upset about the birthday thing, but canceling the mortgage? That's extreme. We could lose the house." "Yes," I said simply. "You could." That afternoon, they staged what I can only call an intervention. Lisa arrived first, her minivan pulling into my driveway like she was on a rescue mission. Then came Justin and Candace, followed by my brother-in-law Robert, Gerald's younger brother who'd always been the family mediator. They arranged themselves in my tiny living room like a tribunal. Lisa sat on the edge of the couch, leaning forward with her hands clasped. Candace perched on the arm of Justin's chair, checking her phone every few seconds. Robert positioned himself by the window, trying to look neutral but clearly there as backup. "Mom," Lisa started, using her kindergarten teacher voice, "we're worried about you. This isn't like you at all. The mortgage, the note, not returning our calls, it's like you're having some kind of breakdown." "I'm having a breakthrough," I corrected. "There's a difference." Candace finally looked up from her phone. "Helen, I want to apologize for the birthday thing. We should have included you in the dinner plans. But you have to understand, this promotion is huge for me. It's a 40% salary increase, company car, full benefits." I was so excited I wasn't thinking clearly. "Excited enough to post it on Instagram but not excited enough to call the woman who's been paying your rent," I observed. Justin jumped in. "Mom, that's not fair. You offered to help with the mortgage. We didn't ask you to take it on." I laughed, actually laughed out loud. "Justin, honey, you called me sobbing at 2 a.m. 3 years ago because you were about to lose the house. You said Sophia would be homeless, that Candace would leave you, that your life was over. You begged me to help, just until you got back on your feet. Those were your exact words." The room went quiet. Robert cleared his throat. "Helen, they're grateful for everything you've done." "No," I interrupted. "Grateful people don't tell their benefactor she's not a priority on her 70th birthday. Grateful people don't celebrate major life events without the person who made their lifestyle possible." Lisa tried a different approach. "What do you want from us, Mom? What would make this right?" I looked around the room at these people I'd raised, supported, and loved unconditionally for decades. People who'd reduced me to a checkbook with legs. "I want you to figure out your own problems for once," I said quietly. "I want to stop being your backup plan and start being your mother." The silence that followed was deafening. Robert was the first to break the silence. "Helen, I think there's been some miscommunication here. The kids didn't realize how much pressure you were under." "Pressure?" I stood up, and everyone seemed surprised by how tall I suddenly looked. "Robert, let me show you something." I walked to my bedroom and retrieved the manila folder I'd been keeping for years. When I returned, I spread the contents across my coffee table like evidence in a court case: bank statements, canceled checks, credit card bills, mortgage payment confirmations. "This is what pressure looks like," I said, pointing to the highlighted figures. $73,850 over 5 years. That's my Social Security, Gerald's pension, and wages from stocking shelves at Walmart 3 nights a week. Lisa picked up one of the statements, her face going pale. "Mom, I had no idea it was this much." "You didn't want to know. None of you did. It was easier to let me handle everything while you built your lives." Candace shifted uncomfortably. "We always said we'd pay you back when things got better." "When? When exactly would that have been? You just got promoted, Justin's landscaping business is finally turning a profit, and yet the money flow was still going in one direction, out of my pocket and into yours. Justin rubbed his face with both hands. Mom, we never meant for it to get this big. It just snowballed. It snowballed because every time I tried to discuss scaling back, one of you had a crisis. Candace's car broke down, Sophia needed dental work, your equipment got stolen, Lisa's husband lost his job. There was always something more important than paying back your 70-year-old mother. Robert looked at the papers spread across the table. Helen, why didn't you say something sooner? I did say something. I said it every time I asked when you thought you might start making the payments yourselves. I said it every time I mentioned my budget was tight. I said it every time I suggested maybe it was time for you to refinance or downsize. But you all got very good at changing the subject. The room fell silent again. Finally, Candace spoke up. So what happens now? We have 15 days before the bank starts foreclosure proceedings. Now you do what adults do, I said. You figure it out. Sell the house, rent something smaller, ask Candace's parents for help, get a second mortgage, pick up extra work. All the things you would have done 3 years ago if you hadn't had me as a safety net. Lisa's eyes filled with tears. Mom, we love you. We're not trying to use you. Honey, love is a verb. It's not just a feeling, it's actions. It's remembering someone's birthday, including them in celebrations, asking about their life, their health, their happiness. When was the last time any of you asked how I was handling being a widow? How I felt about selling the house Gerald and I shared for 30 years so I could afford to help you keep yours? The silence stretched so long I could hear the neighbor's dog barking 3 houses down. Finally, Justin whispered, we messed up, didn't we? Yes, I said simply. You did. Over the next week, I established what Gerald used to call the new normal. I changed my phone number and gave it only to Robert, with strict instructions that it was for emergencies only, real emergencies, not can you cover the electric bill emergencies. I opened a new bank account at a different branch and transferred my Social Security and pension there. For the first time in years, I watched my balance grow instead of shrink. The hardest part wasn't the money, it was the guilt. 70 years of being a caretaker don't disappear overnight. Every time I walked past the Walmart where I'd been working nights, I thought about Sophia not understanding why Grandma wasn't helping anymore. Every time I saw a family at church, I wondered if I was being too harsh. But then I'd remember sitting alone at Olive Garden on my 70th birthday, and the guilt would fade. On day 8, Lisa showed up at my door. She looked different, older, more serious. The casual confidence she usually wore was gone. Can we talk? She asked. I let her in but didn't offer coffee. Tom and I talked all week, she said, settling into Gerald's chair without asking. We went through our finances, really looked at them for the first time in years. Mom, we had no idea how much we were leaning on you. I waited. The kids' school clothes, the gymnastics lessons, the car repairs, you've been covering so much that we forgot what our actual budget was. We've been living above our means because you kept making up the difference. And? I asked. And we're ashamed. We're embarrassed. We're grateful. And we're sorry. She paused, then added, Tom took a second job. Weekends at Home Depot. We're going to pay you back, Mom. Not all at once, but we're going to pay you back. It was a start, but I wasn't ready to celebrate yet. What about Justin and Candace? Lisa's face darkened. They're struggling with the new reality. Candace found out about a program for first-time homebuyers. They might be able to refinance with better terms. Justin is talking about selling his equipment and going to work for someone else's landscaping company. But Mom. She leaned forward. They're angry. They think you're being manipulative. Manipulative, I repeated. Their word, not mine. They think you planned this whole thing to make them look bad. I almost laughed. Lisa, honey, I didn't need to make them look bad. missing their mother's 70th birthday to celebrate a promotion with everyone except the person who made their lifestyle possible. They did that all by themselves. She nodded slowly. I know. We all know, even if they won't admit it yet. After Lisa left, I sat in my quiet house and felt something I hadn't experienced in decades: peace. Not happiness exactly, but the deep, bone-deep relief that comes from finally setting down a weight you've been carrying so long you'd forgotten it wasn't supposed to be yours. Outside, the neighbor's sprinkler system kicked on, watering the lawn that someone else owned and someone else paid for. It was a beautiful sound. 3 months later, I was standing in the kitchen of my new apartment, a lovely one-bedroom in a senior community with a pool, a library, and neighbors who remembered each other's birthdays. I was making Gerald's famous chocolate chip cookies, not because anyone had asked me to, but because I wanted them. The foreclosure had gone through. Justin and Candace had managed to rent a smaller house across town, and Justin was working for Peterson Landscaping now, earning steady wages with benefits. Lisa and Tom had kept their house but downsized their lifestyle significantly. Sophia was adjusting to fewer toys and activities, but she was also learning the value of things, a lesson that would serve her well. Robert still called every Sunday, just to check in. He'd become the family's unofficial therapist, helping everyone process what had happened and why. You did the right thing, Helen, he'd said last week. It was hard love, but it was love. I'd started volunteering at the community center, teaching basic financial literacy to young families. It turned out that decades of managing everyone else's money had given me skills I never knew I had. The irony wasn't lost on me. My phone rang, the new number that only family had. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Grandma Helen? It was Sophia, her voice small and uncertain. Hi, sweetheart. Mommy said I could call you. She said we were mean to you on your birthday and that's why you moved away. I sat down heavily in my new recliner, the first piece of furniture I'd bought for myself in decades. Oh honey, I didn't move away because of you. You didn't do anything wrong. But Daddy's sad all the time now, and Mommy cries when she thinks I'm not looking. Did we make you not love us anymore? My heart broke and healed at the same time. Sophia, listen to me very carefully. I love you more than all the stars in the sky. I love your daddy and your mommy too. But sometimes grown-ups have to make hard choices to teach other grown-ups how to be better. Like when you make me clean my room before I can play? Exactly like that, sweetheart. Are we cleaned up enough now? Can we play again? I smiled, thinking of all the progress reports Robert had shared. Justin was actually proud of earning his own way. Candace had started a small savings account. Lisa had sent me a check for $200 with a note that said, "First payment, many more to come." You know what, Sophia? I think maybe we can start playing again. But the rules are different now. Fair rules, where everyone takes turns and everyone gets to have fun. I like fair rules, Grandma. Me too, sweetheart. Me too. After I hung up, I looked around my apartment, my space, paid for with my money, decorated with things I chose. On the refrigerator was a single photo, Gerald and me on our wedding day, both of us young and full of dreams we never imagined would include teaching our children to value the woman who raised them. At 70 years old, I'd finally learned the most important lesson of all. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is refuse to be taken for granted. The chocolate chip cookies were almost ready, and for the first time in years, they were just for me. If Helen's story touched your heart, please hit that like button. It means the world to me and helps others find these stories when they need them most. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories about people who finally chose themselves. Your support keeps these important stories coming. Most importantly, I want to hear from you in the comments below. What life lesson did Helen's journey teach you? Have you ever felt taken for granted by family? What would you have done in Helen's shoes? Share your thoughts, your own experiences, or the wisdom you'd pass on to others who might be struggling with similar situations. Your stories and insights help build a community where we support each other. Thanks for watching.